appeal court affirms Julius Abure's Labour Party national chairmanship. Wow, I read this and honestly, I was surprised and but not surprised again because I know that the Abure appeal court case has the political force, Nigeria's political force. Oh, sorry, yes, political force have interfered, are interfering in this matter, and that is why the appeal court, like I said earlier, that appeal court will is taking is towing this line rather. Barrister, what is okay? Let me read part of the news. On January 17, 2025, the Court of Appeal in Abuja reaffirmed Julius Abure as the national chairman of the Labour Party. The three-member panel, led by Justice Hamma Barka, declared that its previous judgment from November 13, 2024, recognizing Abure's leadership remains valid and has not been overturned by any court. Okay, this is reaffirmation, not even affirm. Okay, this is reaffirmation. That is just the reality. This decision arose from two separate appeals filed by Senator Esther Nenadi Usman, the Caretaker Committee, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The appellate court emphasized that it did not address the Labour Party's leadership issues as such matters are non-justifiable. Consequently, the Federal High Court's judgment from October 8, 2024, delivered by Justice Emeka Nwite, was deemed null and void due to lack of jurisdiction, Justice Barker stated. We can quote, "We cannot say this appeal fails or succeeds because the lower court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the suit in the first place." Barrister, what the hell is going on here? First, why do you see the evidence as a lawyer? Do you think the appeal court did the right thing? Is the judgment based on the evidence, what we already know, what you know? Do you think the appeal court's judgment is actually judicious? That is one. And secondly, going by this judgment, what do you think is the fate of the Peter Obi camp and the Labour Party at large, by extension?
First of all, when I read that report, I, as a lawyer, am totally confused by what the report means. I was of the opinion that maybe the reporters have not properly reported what actually transpired at the Court of Appeal. Even as a layman, going through that thing, you should see some contradictions in it. You cannot say that you are not pronouncing on the leadership of the Labour Party and at the same time upholding the leadership of Julius Abure. That is contradiction. Then you cannot say that quotation that was quoted, I believe it was not properly quoted. When we say we cannot say this appeal fails or succeeds because the lower court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the suit in the first place. There's no court can say that. If the lower court has no jurisdiction, then the appeal succeeds, and the lower court's judgment is set aside.
Apart from this this news outlet, have you read this the judgment from a different news?
No, what I read is just what is online. They have not gone into just what you have read. I've read it before.
Okay.
And I was like, before I can make sense of it, I need to know more. Because a court of appeal cannot say we are not saying the appeal succeeds or fails. because the lower court has no jurisdiction. If a lower court has no jurisdiction and you appeal to the Court of Appeal, the appeal will succeed. The Court of Appeal must say that the lower court has no jurisdiction, so the appeal succeeds. And the judgment that was given without jurisdiction will be set aside. So how do you come to say we cannot say the appeal succeed or does not succeed because the lower court has no jurisdiction? In law, if the court has no jurisdiction, then whatever it says does not stand and must be set aside. So you cannot sit on the fence and say the appeal neither succeed nor fails. What does that mean? It does not make sense from a legal perspective. But I know that I think back in, was it October, the Court of Appeal had ruled in favor of Abure. And I believe they had appealed to the Supreme Court on that issue, which should be pending. In the interim, the Peter Obi accepted the judgment of the Court of Appeal and accepted that for now, Abure remains the national chairman based on that judgment.
Oh, really? So the Obi camp have accepted that?
Exactly. Why they are appealing? They had appealed to the Supreme Court. In the meantime, because
that means they did not accept now. Barrister, what are you talking about? If they are appealing, they didn't accept. That's why they are appealing.
No, you have to accept. You appeal. What I mean is that until the judgment of the Court of Appeal is set aside, it remains the judgment of the land.
Oh, okay, I understand.
And the person pronounced will be in that capacity until it is set aside. So they have no choice. If Abure should go to the office now, they will allow him to enter as national chairman because no judgment has set aside that judgment. And the application for a stay was not accepted. So I don't know what happened on 17th of January, the nature of the appeal that was being spoken of. Because you cannot appeal against the judgment of the Court of Appeal to the Court of Appeal. It will only be at the Supreme Court. And if the Court of Appeal had given judgment and you appeal to the Supreme Court, what were they doing in the Court of Appeal on 17th of January? Maybe it was an application for stay of execution of the judgment that they had made. I'm just speculating now because I do not have the full facts. Maybe it was an application to Court of Appeal to stay the judgment as they have appealed to Supreme Court. And the Court of Appeal said, no, we will not stay it. So you will reaffirm our earlier
but if it is again, that's another contradiction. If that is your assumption is the real thing, is the reality. That wouldn't, it's not supposed to be so. If they are talking about, they're going to saying that the lower courts does not have jurisdiction to do that. A sort of so they obviously that it wouldn't make sense for them to use what you just said now, to use that as a yardstick, a sort of. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
I am thinking that the reporting by the journalists or what transpired at the Court of Appeal may not be totally correct. From what has been reported online, everything seems to be contradictory. So I am believing that the journalists that reported the proceedings did not capture the essence of what happened at the Court of Appeal. Because I do not see how a court will say, we cannot say the appeal fails or succeed. No court will say that. An appeal either fails or succeed. It's not two-way. Because what judgment then would the Court of Appeal have given? An appeal has only two alternatives. It either succeeds or it fails. And that is why if it succeeds, the other party can go to Supreme Court. If it fails, the other party can go to Supreme Court. If it does not succeed and does not fail, what does that mean? It has no meaning in law. And especially when you go further to say the lower court had no jurisdiction. If the lower court had no jurisdiction, then the appeal succeeds and the judgment of the lower court is set aside.
All right.
So I believe maybe there is misreporting of what really happened.
all right. So now, what is the fate of the Peter Obi camp? What is the fate of the Labour Party and Peter Obi's
Like I
camp?
said, back in October when the Court of Appeal gave judgment, the Peter Obi camp came up and said, yes, for now, Abure, because of that judgment, although we're appealing, for now he is the chairman of Labour Party on account of that judgment. But we have not accepted it. We have appealed to Supreme Court. So pending when the Supreme Court will decide the matter, this man is now, for now, the chairman. I remember they said that back then.
All right then. Okay. I think I understand clearly your submission on this issue, this contradiction in the with the appeal court's judgment. Sort of. So I don't know if you read it like this one now. This news actually this one that I'm reading right now, or I read earlier, is that's for Owoleke TV news crew actually. So that's why I asked you if you have read it from. You said you read the same thing online on other
Exactly.
platforms.
That proceeding 17th was yesterday.
Yes,
So and most of the times when judgment, there are reporters there.
yes.
They will send an abridged version or summary for online publication. So sometimes they make mistake and do not capture the real essence of.
Essence,
Most
okay.
of them who are reporting are not lawyers. So sometimes they do not get the essence
So
of
what you are
the
saying is that
judgment.
on no account will the court make such statement or such judgment, give such judgment.
If it's an appeal, number one, the Court of Appeal had given judgment, so you cannot appeal to the Court of Appeal on it. They cannot sit on their judgment. It
So
must be,
if that is the case, so what is obviously the court of appeal sat on this case. So why did they
but
sit in the first place?
it could not sit as an appeal court over its previous judgment. That's why I said probably what was before the court was what we call interlocutory applications, like stay of execution.
Okay.
Because the court that granted judgment cannot sit on its own case as an appeal court. The appeal can only be heard by a higher court. So when the reporters were saying that in the appeal before the Court of Appeal, they didn't get it correct because Court of Appeal had already decided the issue before. So what was before them will probably be an interlocutory application, and probably they refuse it, and that's why the journalist is making those. My problem is in the quotation. They quoted a judge as saying so, as saying AYZ, and that quotation cannot be correct. Because if you take that quotation as being correct, then there's only one way the judgment will go, which is the appeal will succeed because the lower court had no jurisdiction. So that they will say the appeal succeeds because the lower court had no jurisdiction. So all the orders made by the lower court are hereby set aside.